Although in the United States, you've seen all these stories about officers getting indicted for murder and for all these shootings and so forth, that has not occurred in Harris County and not with the Houston Police Department. There have been 250 shootings in a row by HPD, and there's no evidence of one single disciplinary action taken or one single time that there has been an indictment by a grand jury. Now, the current mayor got the support of HPD in his election very early. The mayor needs to show people these body cam videos, they need to release videos, and they need to discipline their officers. There's a new Harris County District Attorney in charge now, Kim Ogg, and she has promised not to continue this cover-up of all police excessive force. Next, we're going to have Shelby Stewart say a few words.
All right. My name is Shelby Stewart. I'm with the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice. I'm also a retired Houston police sergeant, and I worked in the jail and on the streets. Integrity is what you do when people aren't watching. And what did the Houston Police Department do? When they had this video in 2014, they didn't release it to the public. They didn't do anything to the officer. They hoped that this video would never surface, but it's here. And what that does is it strains the integrity that we have in our leadership. The citizens should be able to believe in institutions that are here to protect their rights and to protect them. And when you have organizations, when you have mayors, when you have police chiefs that make decisions, that video that shows excessive force and deadly force is not the public's business, that goes too far. We're asking body cam videos for the public to be shown and not hidden, where people have to jump over hoops in order to get data that is relevant to our daily lives, because we should be able to trust the police and what they do.
Thank you. This is Reuben Williams Sr., and if you have some general questions for him, he'd be glad to, address those.
Can you tell us how old your son was at the time and how old he is now?
I think he was 34 at the time.
And now?
36.
And so where is he today, Mr. Williams?
Still in hold up.
How did that happen?
Well, he telephoned me and told me don't pay the bond.
He said what?
Don't pay the bond.
Is this an unrelated charges, something else?
No.
Well, no, no, it's not unrelated. No, it's not unrelated. It's not unrelated.
How's your family dealing with this? How has it affected you?
This is just a disgusting thing. I saw the video once. I don't care to see it again. It's members of the family up in Austin has been calling me, brother in California. So this thing is gotten out, and they're all just absolutely disgusted with just the way the whole thing was handled. HPD never intended for this video to come out. They've taken steps to cover themselves up.
And what message does your son have?
Stick it out. He says that maybe he did something wrong, but he didn't deserve this.
How long did it take for you to find out what actually happened to your son?
Almost 2 years.
When you saw the video?
Right.
He wasn't able to communicate with you about it from jail, you're saying? He didn't tell you when he was...
He didn't tell me everything.
And why do you think that is? He didn't tell you.
Well, I didn't ask him one thing, so...
Is he embarrassed about it? Or?
Yeah. Very embarrassed.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your son? What his life was like before this? Like what he was doing in his life? Family?
Regular person.
Working?
He was into music.
Where did he work? Did he work somewhere?
He worked for himself. Had his own, I guess, production.
What part of town did he grow up in? Where did he go to high school? Anything else you can tell me?
East side of Houston. He went to high school.
Where did he live?
East side of Houston.
What do you guys hope to come out of this civil suit? By filing this civil suit, what do you hope?
At the very least, that some light is shown on HPD. That this type of thing is probably still happening. It's just not coming to the light. That the people that's responsible for doing these things, they be held accountable. The same way that they would hold me if I did something wrong. They should answer up too. The leaders in this city, you know, if they think potholes are their biggest problems, they really have a problem.
What do you think the role of the police should be?
Police the community, protect the community. Individual police officers shouldn't be taking upon themselves to pass judgment for anything they come across.
Is there any further questions?
Can we ask you some questions?
Oh, sure.
At what point did he come to you about this? Like, was it way after, or how did this progress?
Well, as far as when he came, I really can't address that. However, he did eventually come to me, and with this evidence, and we have it now. So,
you know, one thing I know that Corral says that he spit on him and that he just pushed him, and that's how this happened. Looking at that video, it's hard to see. You're saying that there's no possibility that
there is no possibility that happened. I invite you to slow down the video, and you can. I'll do a little demonstration. He gets close to the door jamb. He goes like this. Bam. That's not a mistake. Use your common sense. And why isn't he's charging him with a felony, and he's a police officer, and he just happens to not collect the saliva, which has DNA in it? Everything is indicating that it did not happen the way S. Corral said, and it happened just like it's on the video. Just refer to the video and look at it and analyze it. If S. Corral is saying it didn't happen the way it happened on the video, then we ought to question S. Corral and say, why did somebody alter this video to make you look bad? Is that what he's saying? Look at the video. It's absolutely clear. And that's why video is so important. And that's why HPD is still today withholding the body camera information and the body camera videos when you ask for them. It's because they don't want this out. They know videos don't lie.
As you know, there wasn't a grand jury indictment in this case. Those are hard to come by. The federal standard is even higher. What makes you think you're going to be successful with this case?
Well, I've sued the police on at least 100 different times, and based upon the evidence, we will succeed. It is obvious what happened. Smashed his head, and then you can see him squeezing his neck, and he falls on the ground. Clearly, excessive force, no question about it.
Can you talk about the damages that he's seeking?
Well, we don't have a dollar figure, but first of all, he had 10 stitches that were right up in this area, and so he's got a permanent scar, and the emotional damage it has when you're smashed in the head and get 10 stitches and then choked out or whatever you want to call it that he did with his neck hold, that will have an effect on you. And so that would be also mental anguish damages.
So, Randall, the grand jury cleared him of this. Internal Affairs didn't even investigate him for this.
Yeah.
What does that say about HPD?
Well, that's in keeping with the long history of not indicting people or officers for excessive force. As I mentioned, there has been 250 shootings in a row since 13 years ago this month of HPD shooting somebody and killing them or wounding them, at least 50 of which were totally unarmed. Not one single true bill. And why is that? It's because Harris County District Attorney does not want to bring these forward. The District Attorney, Devin Anderson, got the support of the Houston Police Union. And that's because they know that she is going to be on their side, and that excessive force, if they had their way, excessive force will never be brought forward.
In order to win a case like this, you have to prove right that it's not just a one bad officer, that this is something bad within the department?
Well, the law is like this. If to get the government liable, such as the city of Houston, you have to show a pattern of practice of some sort of behavior or some policy that they had which caused the civil rights damages. Like, let's say this was in a string of 50 in a row where there's video and they don't do anything. Well, you can win that lawsuit because that's called failure to discipline. However, against the individual officer, you don't have to show a pattern. He can be liable for just one single incident, such as this, of a violation of a constitutional right, such as the Fourth Amendment right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures is where the excessive force law comes from. Oh.
Have you brought this video to the police after you got your hands on it?
They had the video.
They had the video. It was investigated by the homicide division. As a matter of fact, that's where it came from, the homicide division. Because the homicide division, in also, although it says homicide, also investigates instances of assault, right? Assault, and this would be an assault.
So they had it, they investigated it, and they found nothing? They didn't do anything?
No, there has been no discipline against this officer, and he has not been moved or fired, and he was not indicted by a grand jury. So, to my knowledge, to this very day, absolutely nothing has happened as a result of this video from any source, whether it be HPD, homicide, HPD, Internal Affairs, or the Harris County District Attorney's Office.
When it aired in August, a lot of viewers said, look, if you spit on a police officer, what do you expect the police officer is going to do?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I got two routes there. One is, if you look at the evidence, if you look at the video closely and ask yourself, what's the proof that he spit? Just go through the video, what's the proof, and you'll soon come to the conclusion that there's no proof that he spit on anybody. And once again, seasoned police officer, all he's got to do is take a swab of that spit, and there's your conviction for the felony charge he's charged with. But he did not do that. And so we don't think there was any spitting, but let's say there was spitting. Police officers deal daily with drunk people. They're swearing at you. They're they don't like you. Now, if he did try to spit at you, that still is not legal to smash his head into the wall. That is still excessive force. There are things he could have done. There's a spit hood that he could take. A spit hood and put it over your head. As you might imagine, the law doesn't say, well, when a suspect does something wrong, you are allowed then to smash his head into the wall and then choke him out or apply a nerve hold until he passes out. That's not what the law says.
Does this officer have any history that you were able to...
We have not gotten those documents yet. We just filed the lawsuit. However, that is something that we will be researching.
And do you know if the officer's still employed?
Yes, he is still employed. And oh, by the way, you can do an open records request on the sustained complaint history of this officer if you would like to, because that's how you would, and they're supposed to give that to you if it's sustained, which means any upheld cases of like excessive force or lying or what have you. So you won't get the ones where there's complaints and then nothing happens to them, because that's under the Texas Open Records Act, or what's called the Texas Public Information Act. That's not accessible. But every sustained complaint is. Okay, well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Give them,